and your true heart of heart, you're like John Lynch.
That's
Get some
right.
interceptions, knock your head off if you come across the middle. That's who Sims is. I see it in you.
I would be a hitter. I have a blockhead. It's made of concrete. I can hit people. That's for sure. Yo, what's up? It's Chris Sims. It's Chris Sims Unbuttoned. We are here in Canton, Ohio, and I got some guests today. Not blockheads. I'm the only blockhead here, but I think their heads are harder than mine. That's for sure. That's been proven.
I thought
all right?
you said blackheads.
Yeah, no blackheads either. I had to deal with that a lot as a teenager, okay, but not anymore, okay? I'm out of that, right? So I'm all good there.
Good to be here.
Two of my favorites right here, Rodney Harrison, Devin McCourty, Patriot legends. Damn, one might be a Hall of Famer eventually. Probably should be. We'll talk about that later. Devin is a legend all the way. I'm not sure if you get in the Hall of Fame, but I think you're awesome, just so you know that.
He gets in the Patriots. Hey, he gets in the Patriots Hall of Fame.
Patriots Hall of Fame for sure, no doubt about it. I used to say at the end of Devin's career, or even in his prime, I always be like, man, not enough people talk about Devin McCourty as being one of the better safeties in football. You kind of got overlooked all the time, probably because you're not a loudmouth or a showboater or anything like that.
I enjoyed all my time in New England.
Yeah,
had a great run.
Yeah. No, you guys are.
Did
winning.
you see the money he made?
Right.
I bet he did enjoy his time.
I did. I made fun of him. I think the last time he was on the podcast saying, "Oh, I just saw a list of the highest paid safeties in the history of football."
I'm slowly.
You're slowly going down.
Hurrying away, guys. Getting paid.
What a problem to have, right?
Yeah, what a problem to have. Right, exactly right. Damn. And then I've seen his new house that he's living in and stuff. And every now and then I get a glimpse in from when he's on the screen, or he sends me a picture of his kids.
That's what happens. I show the guy one picture, and now it's like,
man,
I seen his house.
Can't hide money, man.
But well deserved, man. The guy worked his butt off and
no doubt
put it on the line.
But I appreciate you guys coming in here today, and we got some good stuff. We'll hit some news for everybody out there. We're going to talk about teams in the Super Bowl window. We're going to have a little fun with these two and Pat's Trivia. Right, we'll see how much they knew about ex-teammates and things that were going on in their locker room and see what they are there. But everyone always loves Devin coming on. Devin, you become like, people are calling from you in my social media a little bit, right?
You never tell me that.
No, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, we don't see each other.
Back on,
I don't see each other that much. And what do you want me to do? Send you a little picture like, oh, hey, look, Rick Dowd Daddio said great pod this week. All right? But look, you got some people here. Pete's pulled up some. Devin is awesome. More of him, please. Devin McCourty deserves a raise.
See, Pete always showing me love. That's why we're neighbors when we sit and watch the games. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's a good thing. You got to sit next to Pete Demolitolitis and always.
We talk a lot of special teams.
A lot of special teams. He loves his punters. But we're here at the Hall of Fame because of the game tonight. Kickoff of the NFL preseason, kickoff of the season. Rodney's old squad, the Chargers, coming into town. We got the Detroit Lions. First thing is, let's just hit on the Chargers for a second, right? Rodney, I'll start with you. Just what do you expect from the Chargers? What do you think we're going to see here in year two with Jim Harbaugh and everything?
Oh, I mean, I think it was pretty obvious going out, drafting a running back in the first round, adding Mekhi Becton, so really building up that power run game. I think they're going to run the football, obviously. Ladd McConkey, he had an excellent rookie season, but they need more. They need production from other guys.
Right.
And, the one thing they upgraded was at the tight end position. Now I think they have three really solid tight ends, and who knows, maybe they play a little bit more 12 for personnel.
Yeah, they could do that.
And it fits.
Yeah,
like you just said, power run game. You get Joe Alt last year. You go all in on this run game. So 12 personnel putting two tight ends out there makes sense. I think the biggest thing, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday, is I think Justin Herbert has to step up and not be just the talented quarterback anymore. He has to be the guy when you play against the Chargers, he's going to make everybody else better. He's going to get the team going. If there's a one drive left on a 2-minute situations, he's going to go win the game. I think he needs to create that aura about him to help this team take the next step.
When you played against him, I know he's a talented guy, big arm and everything. Did you ever fear in the fourth quarter that this guy is capable of that?
We didn't. And the crazy thing is, we never had a close game with them to even get to the fourth quarter. And we would go into the game with exactly what you just said. He's big, strong. Bill would be up there yelling at us how he can run, he can do all these different things. But then sometimes I feel like when we got to the game, it was just – they were just out there. He wasn't bringing that kind of aura.
A little robotic.
Yeah, and time in New England, when we played against teams, it was like their best shot. It was like, hey, we got a chance to play the Patriots. And I never kind of felt that. And I think Harbaugh is helping change that. But I think he has to really go in there and get the locker room to buy in to do whatever he says.
And as much as Harbaugh is trying to sell this dude on everybody, everybody has to raise their level to Justin Herbert. At the end of the day, if you want to be considered a great quarterback, it's not what you do in the regular season, it's what you do in the postseason. And he has to understand, I have to be able to show that I can play on that level without the nerves.
In the big moments.
Exactly.
And, you said it right. I think the aura word is right. Right? When we were talking a little bit yesterday, getting ready for the game and all of that, I mean, we know there's 4 guys that have an aura that stand above the rest right now. Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, right? Where, I mean, you played against those guys, and you didn't have those warm and cozy feelings in the third and fourth quarter when you were playing against them.
We played against Cincinnati, and going into the game, we had simplified a lot of our defense. And going into the game, Bill comes in and he goes, listen, if we go out there and do the same we did last week and the week before, this guy will throw for 500 yards and have 4 touchdowns. Like, we just can't do that against him. And then you get in the game, and we're doing all of this disguising. He's picking up, he's seeing, and you're like, damn. Like, this dude is – and – I wouldn't say like that Bengals team we played was like the greatest team ever. All the teams I played with Josh Allen on, it's not like, in the beginning of his career, we were beating him.
Yeah.
But him and what we had to go through, it was just like, hey, this is going to be a long day. And I think that's what you need. Like, even, talking to Coach Dungy yesterday, and he said, even with Peyton Manning, there was never any doubt from anybody in the locker room and the organization that he was that guy. And I think what you just said of Harbaugh, it seems like he's selling him to everybody, where I don't think that's a great position to be in when your head coach is trying to sell. Like, it has to already be bought in by the teammates and everybody.
Right. I do think you can grow into that a little bit, though, don't you? Right?
Yeah.
You can grow with the confidence.
We saw him grow.
Big games.
He's grown the last season.
Right, that's right too. And I said that to you yesterday. I was like, let's not forget, like 2 years ago, the Chargers chargering and being dysfunctional was a real thing. And he hasn't necessarily had the best support around him from coaching and all that type of stuff. We'll see. The talent's there, like you said, but it's that other stuff.
Guys, I think the key thing is what Harbaugh is trying to do is he's just trying to give his team a chance to win in the fourth quarter.
Right.
So if you run the ball, keep those interceptions, those turnovers down, you have a chance. But I look on the defensive side of the ball, and that's where my concern is. Khalil Mack is not a young guy. He's still a very productive player. Thule is a good young defensive end pass rusher.
Right.
But I don't think they have enough up front, and that's where I question their defense, Devin.
I think that's fair. I definitely look at their defense and their front seven, where they got a great coach in Jesse Minter and the stuff they do, but I don't know if there's a marquee game plan guy that you got to worry about on that front seven, where you're like, hey, if we don't take care of him, he's going to ruin the football game.
Yeah, and I think the key when you have that, when you don't have the big names, is the team defense. Like, you got to play a certain style where whatever we implement as a scheme this week, it can't be, we were like, no, we have to be spot on in exactly what we do. And they need the secondary to play at a high level. They need Cam Hart and Still. They need those young corners to play well, because there's a side that if I'm the Chargers, I'm sitting there saying we have a lot of young guys that maybe people don't know their name, but we have more belief in them than the rest of the league does, and we think they're going to grow into that. We talked about Henley last year at the linebacker position, how well he played. Like, I think they think, hey, this is a superstar. This is maybe you guys don't know yet, and I think they have that kind of defense of guys that we might not be talking about all the time as top guys, but I think they feel like in the next 3 years we will be talking about those guys.
Deion Henley was my number one linebacker coming out in the draft, and I hope he continues to ball out and show that. They need help. Trey Harris, a second-round pick, right, from Ole Miss, like you talked about. They need a receiver that's going to pop up. Quentin Johnson, can he show that he was worthy of
I don't believe in
round?
Quentin Johnson. I mean, he's just so up and down. And, yes, we see flashes of him getting better at times, and he always talks about Harbaugh instilling that confidence in him. But when I watch him, it's like he's just so disappointing. He has so many physical tools, and then all of a sudden he's going across the middle about to catch a dig, hits him in the hand, and he drops it. And that just takes the life out of an offense, because you're like, I can't trust this guy.
Before we switch lanes to go to Detroit and just talk about them for a second too, Rodney, because just talking like he's talking about the quarterbacks he had to face with aura. I always love to talk to you about history too. So like when you were playing in your prime, I know Peyton had that aura where you were like, man, as good as we are with New England, he still has answers against us and all the time. Who were other quarterbacks that might fit that, Lamar Jackson, Burrow, Mahomes mold?
Back then, I mean, it was Steve Young, it was John Elway, Dan Marino, Joe Montana.
Yeah.
It was all those just all those great quarterbacks.
Right. That was like the start of your career, and those guys were kind of coming to an end.
Yeah, I was
right?
playing against John Elway as a young guy.
No, I know.
And Terrell
I didn't
Davis
expect
and
you to
Shannon
go that.
Sharp.
I didn't expect you to go that far
I'm gonna tell
back.
you this. I'm
I
gonna
thought
tell
you
you
were
this.
bringing my dad up here
True
in a second.
story. So I'm a young player playing against Shannon Sharp, and I'm like, I look at this dude, I'm like, this dude is ripped, and he is fast. He tore me up one season. He had like 9 catches for 157 yards and a touchdown, and I vowed to get better. That season, I went home, worked on my one-on-one coverage, came back, and was a lot better player. But, wow, he gave me my welcome to NFL moment. Shannon Sharp did.
How about your years with the Patriots, though? Other than Peyton, was there anybody else that you looked at to go like, man, I don't know. You know, I know we can.
Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers.
That might be the crew right there. Big Ben was a little bit more backyard football.
But
right?
Big Ben was tough. I mean, he was tough to defend. I mean, he had a big, strong arm, and he was really equally as tough to try to tackle, bring down. And Bill used to always tell us, don't tackle him by the legs, tackle the arms, tackle the arms.
He would come in and be like, some of you little ass DBs, you're not fucking blitzing.
Right.
So like Pat Chung's first time blitzing, wraps him up, takes him down. He looks at the sideline, looks at Bill, starts flexing because he talked trash us the whole week.
Right, that you're not going to bring him down that easy. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Big Ben for me is one of the more underrated quarterbacks, I think, of his time for sure. He doesn't get the credit there. Detroit Lions, 2 years close, right? You know, should have won the NFC Championship game, blew a 14-point lead against the 49ers 2 years ago. Last year, injuries. Jared Goff throws a bunch of interceptions against Washington in the divisional round. They don't make it. We're still thinking they're like one of the best teams in the NFC, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't think we think the same way we felt the last 2 years with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Like last year, we still believed in this team, even though their defense got depleted. And a prime reason was people believed in what Aaron Glenn was doing. They believed that, hey, we're grabbing guys. They've been in our locker room for 2 weeks, but they're going to go start. Like, that's not normal. Usually when that happens for teams, they're like, man, a tough break for Detroit, but they have no shot. They kept doing it. I think this year, you try to replace, and I was in New England when we started losing assistant coaches, it felt like every year.
Right.
And now when you get new coaches in there, it doesn't mean that it's going to go south right away, but there's question marks of how is Shepard going to call the defense? How is Morton going to call the offense? Hey, are these new assistant coaches, do they have a little bit of their own thoughts of what we should be doing? So I think there's some question marks that I don't think you feel as good as you felt the last 2 years.
I think the good thing is it's the same system.
Yeah.
So the terminology, the language, and all that stuff.
Agreed.
I think the biggest thing with the defense is trying to get to know your defensive coordinator, trying to learn him in those special situations. How will he call 3rd down and 2? Will he be aggressive? Will he play zone, soft zone? Will he say, hey, man, we're going to play tight man-to-man. We're going to blitz. So just really getting to know the personality of your defense coordinator, but also on the offensive side of the ball. Ben Johnson was very close with Jared Goff, and it seemed like it was a perfect fit as far as Jared's personality.
Yeah.
You know, Jared has a different personality, and Ben was super creative as a play caller, and he was real good situationally.
No doubt.
So that's what I think they're going to miss. Plus, you look at their schedule. Their schedule is tough. It's brutal. And even within the same division, Green Bay has gotten better. Chicago, you know, Ben Johnson knows everything about that organization. So, man, and Minnesota, thanks for mentioning that. So I think it's going to be a lot different season for the Detroit Lions. I think they're going to fight tooth and nail. It wouldn't surprise me if they ended up 10-7.
Yeah, like you don't think like 15-2 and
No
all
way.
that this year.
Absolutely
you think
not.
Between the division, the coaching changes, and all that, they're getting the playoffs, but it's not as like the 1 or 2 seed.
Dude, when you lose Aaron Glenn, you're losing a guy that was very passionate, a guy that knew his players intimately, and like you talked about when guys were falling off, he was taking guys off the streets, practice squad players, and playing them, building up their confidence so they can have enough confidence and knowledge to play the game.
No question. Go ahead.
Do you guys ever think, like what you just said, in the same system, does it ever run a problem with sometimes you're in that system and you got veteran, like say there's 2 safeties and they're like, hey, this is how we used to call it with Glenn. This is what we want to do. But then Shepard might say, hey, I know that was last year, but this is how I want to call it this year. Do you think that sometimes can cause problems?
It can cause problems, but I also think as a defensive coordinator, you have to come in with an open mind and say, hey, guys, this is what I want to do. I want to kind of establish this. And then you have communication with leaders like yourself. You come in and say, hey, Devin, this is why we're calling these calls. So now you go back and tell fellas, you calm down, fellas, the reason why we're doing it. That's why leadership is so important. So it's important for the young defensive coordinator and the new offense coordinator to learn their players and really develop that bonds, because it creates trust.
Yeah, I worry about that on the offensive side of the ball. Right, I'll take it from that side. And I know you already brought him up too, but Ben Johnson, for my money, has been the 2 or 3 best play callers in football.
Absolutely,
he's made the game very easy for Jared Goff for a number of years. Right, he's been able to, instead of like getting down close to the 20 and settling for field goals, they score touchdowns in third and put teams away to where you're like, this isn't even a contest in the fourth quarter. And I'm interested to see how they play through that too. I do think the terminology, like you said, is an advantage for John Morton. The fact that he doesn't change anything or do anything that way. Also, like, I always say this, and I'd like to hear it just as it's coming into my brain. Like, the sequence and how you call plays is the brilliance of a lot of offensive coordinators. Yeah, we want creative plays, but right, like the setup of the play. Hey, we ran left. And then we faked the run left and we gave a reverse. We faked the run left, we faked the reverse, we throw a play action pass, right? I think he was amazing at setting things up, and I think that was kind of the thing that always jumped out about it, you know?
Yeah, Ben was a bad dude.
Bad dude. So we're going to talk about them more later, but what we're looking at either way is we think they're a really good team that's just not going to march through the league quite the way it did the last 2 years.
Struggle this year.
Yeah, I feel you there. I do, 100%. All right, so check us out tonight. NBC will be their Hall of Fame game. All right, let's get into some other offseason things real quick. The Raiders, the Christian Wilkins thing, really odd, right? I mean, I've never seen a guy get cut off a team and they said we're cutting off your guarantees for kissing somebody on the head, especially when it's a defensive head coach and Pete Carroll, and it's one of their best players on their defense, right? I mean, what's your kind of take on this situation and how it's
If I was in the locker room with him,
right.
and I would approach Christian and say, hey, man, I will pull him to the side and say, man, some guys have approached me and said that, you know, you're playing and you're joking and it's making them uncomfortable.
Right.
So I would bring him as a leader in the locker room and I would have that one-on-one conversation with him.
Yeah.
And I would let him know, hey, man, we got to stay focused. We can't, separate the team. And then if it continued to happen, then I would definitely go to the head coach. Because, I mean, guys are in there for a purpose. And, yes, we spend a lot of time together. We show each other affection, but there's certain ways you show affection without offending people.
Yeah.
And I'm interested, I think, like you said before we jumped on, of like, what really happened? What is going on? I was actually in Vegas. We did something during the basketball summer league with the Spurs, and we used the Vegas facility. And Christian walked in, and there was guys I knew him. My brother was there, and they're talking to him, and he walks in, and I was caught off guard because he walks in with a boot. And I'm like, damn, didn't he get hurt? So I Googled real quick. Like, he got hurt in the beginning of October. Right. Like, how are we still in a boot? You know what I mean? And he talked about going through the rehab process, a little frustrated with everything. But, like, I think this is kind of a side story, the kissing and all of that nonsense of this man's in a boot. So, like, something had to happen where you either need a surgery again or you had another surgery. And it seems like this is being thrown out there because obviously somewhere along the lines they didn't agree with the rehab process or whatever you want to call it. Right. And now you try to cut a guy and you try to take his guaranteed money away. Right. And he did the right thing. He filed that grievance right away because I think that's the issue. I think the Raiders have put this out of some sort of, hey, this is why we really released this guy. We want to keep this money. But I don't know. All of it seems
But even
weird.
with what people are claiming that he did, his guarantee should still be guaranteed. He shouldn't be able to take his money away.
I would think so, right. I mean, it doesn't seem like anything's agreed. He has the right to have a second opinion and go to the doctor and do that and opt for no surgery, right? That seems to be one of the things that what I've heard is the team wanted him to get surgery. He opted against it from a second opinion. I don't know how much that disgruntled him. And then the add on the other part of this, right, where I don't know. I do know a player went to the head coach. The head coach then told the player to go to HR. I know those things for sure, but I just don't know exactly some of the specifics.
I've never heard
what I said at first. Well,
we got an issue. Hey, Rodney, I can't help you. Go up to H. I've never heard
Never.
We
of it.
are HR. The captains are. We are HR. So if we have any problems with a guy, Devin and I, hey, we're bringing this guy and we're having a hard conversation. 3, 4, 5 captains. We're having a tough conversation.
That's what I said on Monday with Florio. I was like, first off, most players I don't know knew there was HR in the building. Right?
I never knew that.
I mean, HR, you're right, was the locker room. If you weren't following locker room rules, there better be a leader in there that sets you straight. That's how it went. But, yeah, I challenged all these things, but then I had somebody reach out to me and be like, no.
This is
head
real.
Coach, then to HR. And I was just like, wow, it's a new day and age. I guess I am getting old, or we're all getting old here. It's definitely crazy there. All right, we'll see what happens with the Raiders. Now, Steelers. Mike Tomlin, I played with him, and when I was in Tampa, he was a secondary coach. I've always respected him. They bring in Aaron Rodgers. All right, I'd love to hear your thoughts there. The fit, do you think it works with Aaron Rodgers? And I'm going to ask you a few other things about the Steelers, too.
I think there's a chance. I think they haven't had a guy come play quarterback that everyone kind of settles down since Big Ben.
Yeah.
So is it the perfect ideal situation that they probably was like, hey, this is the team and the quarterback that we want to lead us into? No, but like you sit there and you lose out on Russ. You don't bring back Justin Fields. I think Aaron Rodgers has a chance to help this team. Last year, this team was a good team. They won 10 games, 2 different quarterbacks. So now you get Aaron Rodgers in there. If he can stay healthy, do I think it makes them the top contender in the AFC? No, I still think I'm taking Baltimore out of their division.
Sure.
But I think it gives them a chance to go out there and compete with Cincinnati and possibly for that second spot in the division.
What's the question again? I'm sorry.
Do you think Rodgers and the Steelers are a good fit?
I'm kind of like Devin. I think it's solid.
Yeah.
Because I think Rodgers gives them hope. And, as a team that, been in this quarterback purgatory,
right,
they need somebody. And I think Rodgers, if he's healthy, he's smart, he's very charming, so he knows how to charm his teammates. And I think he'll do a good job. The offensive line has gotten a little better. They're talking about how much they like this new running back.
Right.
They added DK Metcalf. Freiermuth is still there. So I think offensively they can do some things. But if they're going to win that division, it's going to come down to that defense. And and I have question marks about that defense.
Well, other thing, too, that I'll throw out there. Yeah, I hear you about the defense. Is it as dominant as we're used to it being? Are they going to run? What offense are they going to run? Yeah. That's the big thing to me. If they run the Aaron Rodgers offense and get the hell out of here, it ain't going to work, right? And from what I've heard so far, it feels like it's going to be the Arthur Smith offense. Mm-hmm. And maybe Rodgers has to say, run, or like then we saw in the Tennessee days, and then Ryan Tannehill play action pass, and boom. And they were really good at that when Vrabel and them were at Tennessee.
So are you saying treat Aaron Rodgers almost like he's a younger quarterback where you kind of control what he does?
I don't feel like you can let him be the sheriff and just take over the game, because he's going to just, here's two yards here, here's 2 yards here. Hey, my completion percentage is good, my quarterback rating is good. Why isn't the offense good? What's going on? And that to me is, you have to push him to be aggressive. You've heard me say this on Sundays in the viewing room. He's too dink and dunky. The NFL right now, the teams that are winning the Super Bowl, right? The Eagles, right? The Chiefs, Josh Allen, Lamar, those type of teams that are in it every year, they're pushing the ball down the field. Those guys are making explosive plays.
And the quarterback is running around making
plays too. Exactly right. So that, to me, I hope they run the ball, protect, and then throw the ball down the field. I just don't know if they'll do it.
And I think it fits their personnel, right? You add Jonnu Smith in there, who's a big, strong athlete. But, like, if you take Jonnu, DK Metcalf, and you put these guys and you say, hey, we're going to just spread.
Freiermuth.
And you got to get open every down against man-to-man. I don't think that's their strength.
I agree.
But you start running, and then you have everybody go one way, and Jonnu on an over route. He's fast. Like, he catches that. He's good with the ball in his hands. So then you get DK Metcalf, run, block, and he's blocking the hell out of DBs.
Yeah.
Now you set up that same play action, and now he's going vertical. I think it plays to their strengths a little bit on offense, and you can dominate the ball.
So really a lot of pressure on Arthur Smith to really hone in Aaron and make sure that Aaron plays under control.
I feel like it, I do. That to me is one of the underlying stories going into the year. All right, and then on the defensive side of the ball, right, they still got some ballers there. What did you feel about the Minkah Fitzpatrick, Jalen Ramsey switch trade there?
So last season, I went up to Mike Tomlin and I said, Coach, he was sitting on the bench one of the games, and I said, why don't you play Minkah Fitzpatrick more in the slot? I said, he's playing deep middle of the field. He's not making any plays. You're playing this guy $18, $20 million a year. He's not making any plays.
Right.
Coach looked at me and said, we have this young guy, forget the young guy.
Sean Elliott?
The nickel. The young nickel.
Bishop?
Yeah.
Beanie Bishop?
Yeah, we have the young nickel. And I'm like, yeah. I said, when I said when Minkah was at University of Alabama, he played over the slot, and he was the best DB in America.
Right.
And he was productive. He was blitzing. He makes plays. And a year later, they trade him. But I didn't think that he was in the right position to make plays. You can't have a guy that talented 25 yards in the deep middle of the field. I mean, you were a guy that you played corner, you could play slot, you can play out wide, you can play safety. You played all over the field. That was your versatility. And I felt like Minkah Fitzpatrick was the same way. And to trade him and bring in Jalen Ramsey, and Jalen's a solid player, but he's not like that anymore, I don't believe.
Well, it's weird, too, from the standpoint of what you just said. I think Jalen Ramsey comes in to do exactly what you just said. He's going to play in the slot. He's going to play some safety.
I think so, too.
Like, I don't think he's going to be the guy. I think it's going to be Darius Slay and Joey Porter Jr. outside. And I think Ramsey's going to fill anything in the middle. And I think what happens, too, a little bit for Minkah Fitzpatrick is you become the best safety on the team. But that other safety position, we haven't talked about him being in a tandem with somebody else. So each time somebody else comes in, if it's KZ, who's more of a free safety, then Minkah was able to move around, play a little bit of the buzz coverage, play robber. But then Deshaun Elliott comes in, he's more of a down safety. So now you got to go back and I think sometimes teams fall in love with, hey, this guy's so good, we're going to just play him wherever we're weak at, and then it takes away from his strengths where Minkah was. When he first got to Pitt, he was robbing a lot, coming down, playing a little bit closer.
Get him close to the box, kind of like very similar to Derwin James. But Deshaun Elliott, you mentioned him. I thought he had a fantastic. He was their best DB last year.
Right. I mean, that poses a question to me. I did think Minkah lost a step last year,
and it's hard to stay 20 yards deep and when you're not running the same.
When you don't run the same, you can't cover the ground that way, right? And I don't know, maybe they felt
but we all slow down, guys, and that's where studying the game, and that's why being a student of the game really comes in, and putting him in a position to make plays.
Yeah.
Like I watch Derwin James, I watch Minkah Fitzpatrick, and those guys kind of move very similarly. But I still believe that they're just not putting him in the right position to be able to make the
Which is going to be tough for him now, like going to Miami, because
that's the worst place.
I don't know what the hell they're going to do there.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you, Jalen Ramsey. I mean, his days as the outside shutdown corner, I think, are done. This is perfect. Let him play the safety nickel hybrid type of guy.
And he has that kind of versatility.
He definitely does. He's bigger than people realize, and he's got incredible ball skills and instinct.
But guys, I'm sitting here thinking about Minkah Fitzpatrick, and this is almost like NFL death going to the Miami Dolphins. You're really still a really good player and very productive. Why would you want to go to the Miami Dolphins? And I'm sure he didn't want to go back to the Miami Dolphins. I just don't see a future there. I don't think the Dolphins are very good, and I just think plain and simple, they're a soft defense.
You do. So you're not seeing, like, the Dolphins are one of those teams I look at, I go, this is a big year for Tua. Yeah. I mean, they've done everything for Tua. They justify the whole offense for him. They don't want to throw the ball down the field so he doesn't have to hold the ball. He's not a great down-the-field thrower, but they're trying to keep his safety, his health. I feel like everything they always do is justify the fifth pick of Tua. And then, the defense, I don't know what to think. They're having injuries through training camp, right? They got people going down there.
Secondary's depleted.
Guys, don't let it get under 40 degrees. We're not even talking about the cold weather.
So you're not a believer in the Dolphins this year at all?
At all. I actually look at the Patriots as being more of a threat than the Miami Dolphins.
I agree. I would agree.
Because Vrabel, well. He's going to have those boys.
No doubt. No doubt. I know they're excited the way camp's going up there. I mean, I'm sure you know more, both of you know more, but I know some people up there too, and I know they think they're having a good camp so far, and I'm with you. I'll join that bandwagon. I expect the Patriots to be better than the Dolphins.
I texted Mike Vrabel last week, and I said, Coach, my former teammate, I said, Coach, you look like you're having a blast. And he's out there, he's smiling, he's laughing. I hadn't seen him that happy in years. And he hit me back and was like, hey, man, miss you, love you. But I could just tell that he's just having the time of his life. And I know it was disappointing to see Gerard Mayo get cut or get fired. But Mike Vrabel is the real deal.
Definitely.
He is the real deal, and the players love him and respect him. You know that.
Yeah. And I think that's the feeling of you had Bill Belichick, this longtime veteran, that, like, when players went there, whether you agreed with everything, you knew, like, all right, he knows what he's doing. And then you go straight to Gerard, and it's his first time, so he's kind of learning on the job. And now you get Vrabel, who comes in. He's already done this before. He already has a plan. So I think that is sticking out to especially some of those younger players who maybe caught 1 year of Bill, then Gerard, and now Vrabel. They're like, okay, like, I'm seeing some of these differences. Like, this guy knows. So, and I think once you bring a guy like Josh McDaniels back in there,
100%.
I think for an offense, because this defense had already been confident. And I think they're even more confident because of the style. Everything over there now on defense is about violence. We want to be violent. I think they're going to be led by Jabril Peppers, Kyle Duggar, Barmore, Milton. Like, those are all violent type players that love that. But I think Josh has brought a confidence back to this offense and in New England that hasn't been there since Brady left.
I
since
hear you
2019, it's been, I don't know what we're going to get on offense. I don't know what we can do, and I think there's confidence now in that.
You could talk about Josh, his failure as a head coach, but you can't talk about him as an offensive coordinator.
100. Thank you for saying it.
Absolute stud. I gave him a text.
I say it all the time right here. Yep, I learned more football from him than John Gruden and on the offensive side of the ball.
Is that right?
Definitely.
Wow. That's a big statement,
I know.
Bro.
He caught me little nuances where I was just like, whoa, like, I ran this play a million times with John Gruden, but he just tweaked this a little bit, and it's like, well, it's always open now. Like, if it's cover 3, we run it this way. If it's cover 2, it's the same play, but there's just a little bit of a different nuance to it. And I was like, damn, nobody ever taught me that, and now it's such a more successful play because of it.
What about the coaching style between the two? Which one really resonated with you? Was it the yelling and screaming, or Gruden being sarcastic?
It was more Josh. It was more Josh. It was. I mean, don't get me wrong. I learned a lot of football. My time with Gruden was awesome. Gruden, though, was more about like, hey, we ran 1,000 plays today, and I got 1,000 checks and 1,000 plays. And some days I wanted to come in and be like, yeah, we ran 1,000 plays, but we up 900 of them today. Like, right? That wasn't good. Josh would be like, here's 10 plays.
Yes.
And we're not moving from these 10 plays until you've mastered it. That's the Bill Belichick.
That's the Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that it comes straight from the top.
So I'd be like, damn.
But it's one play that we can run multiple ways.
No doubt.
It's funny you say that because Bill would tell us, hey, guys, we're going to throw out all the blitzes and everything. I don't care if we have to go in there and play
training
3 plays, 3 different defenses. We're going to do those things 100%. Everybody's going to be perfect. We're going to fly to the ball and make plays.
2008, I played the Patriots. It was Gerard Mayo's rookie year. I believe it was 2008. Yeah. And we played him the preseason, and Bill was pissed off about how the Patriots played cover 2 the week before. You guys played cover 2 every play of the game. We got to the 1 yard line, and they were playing cover 2. It was hilarious.
We've all been in those meetings.
Yeah, right. So, all right. So we're expecting big things. I don't know. Are we expecting playoffs with the Patriots? We're going to go to commercial here in a second. But
I would say 8-9.
Okay, but fighting for a berth at the end of the year.
It all how it plays out.
Right.
Where, you know what I mean? But I think it's around that 8-9, maybe 10 wins.
All right, awesome. All right, we're going to take a break. All right, and after this, we're going to play a little game of Are They in the Super Bowl Window? Okay, we'll be right back here on Chris Sims Unbuttoned right after that. NBC Sports Now is our free 24/7 streaming channel. You can get NFL news and all the biggest stories in sports starting at 7 a.m. with PFT Live, the Dan Patrick Show, the Dan Lebitard Show with Stu Gatz, Fantasy Football Hour with Matthew Berry, and, yeah, that's right, Chris Sims and Unbuttoned. That's right. Yeah, right there. The coolest logo of the bunch, I just would like to say right there. Okay.
You're not biased.
You guys would agree with that? Okay, he agreed. Come on, jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I'll jump on the bandwagon.
Okay, thanks.
What a hater.
None of the other ones look cool. It's kind of by default. But
okay, cool. I mean, I didn't draw it. Somebody at NBC did, but I give him props big time. And, like, last time he came on the show, he wore a shirt with a top button swag, and I was like, damn, what a nice guy buttoning up, like, the show and all that. But neither one of you did that this time, so screw both of you, all right? All right, here we go. Let's play some Super Bowl window. Super Bowl windows. I always love to play this a little bit because, I mean, as I think we all know, you go into a year, there's really only, like most years you look at it and go, there's only 8 or 10 teams that can really win the Super Bowl. And you guys would agree that there's a difference between a playoff contender and a Super Bowl contender, right? There's a big jump there, right? So, yeah, let's do that a little bit. And I think there's some obvious ones we know, but I think along the way we can have some good conversations here, all right? First thing I want to ask you, is it harder motivating, right, going into a season after you won the Super Bowl or after you lose the Super Bowl? Both of you have been there in that department,
I
right?
would say winning the Super Bowl.
It was still
because I
harder.
think just human nature is you get comfortable. Guys get paid. Guys get a lot of props.
Right.
And then now you kind of have that sigh of relief, like, we did it.
Yeah.
But when you lose a Super Bowl, people are looking at you like the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, you're losers. You got beat down in the Super Bowl. So I think that provides motivation.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. You feel the same way?
Yeah, you need, like, the times we've won the Super Bowl, we've had good seasons because we've added like a couple of veterans, like a Chris Long, and
Right.
like guys who came and they're like, man, I've never gone to the playoffs, but I've been a good. So like you need that kind of motive because
Adds a little energy to the
yeah,
locker
when you
room.
win, you're like, this is what you guys talked about, Bill. Like we did it. You're like, calm down, we won. You know, so you definitely need somebody to add that little bit of oomph to kind of get back there.
Yeah.
But also it's up to the coach to come, and Bill did an unbelievable
goodness.
job of coming in saying, hey, guys, what you did last year was last year.
You hated those off
You
seasons.
hated them, bro.
I've heard the stories about it, right? Like there's the story about after the Seahawks Super Bowl win, Scotty O'Brien, right? Remember the old special teams
Yeah,
coach?
Scotty O, yeah.
He was going to retire. And Bill was already like, can we just get this over with so we can move to next?
Yeah.
Can you just tell everybody you're retiring tomorrow so we can move on to the next season and go? And like, right?
That's how it is for everybody.
Right, right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
all right, cool. Hey, great job, but we got to move on. We got to go.
But what does that tell you in the bigger picture? It's not about an individual.
Yeah.
It's about the team.
No question about that for sure. All right, well, the first one right off the bat, I think the obvious, or at least let's start AFC East, the Bills. The Bills. I mean, we all agree they're in the Super Bowl window, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
But yeah, go ahead, say it.
No, the Bills, and that's my Super Bowl pick
You're
for the
taking them.
AFC. Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
All right.
What they've done on the defensive side of the ball, and Josh, man, please.
Yeah, I know. The offense I feel good about for sure. I guess there are questions for me about the
Which
defense
you
a
always
little
talk
bit.
about with them on defense.
What's that?
I just go, I feel like they don't have enough size at times. I feel like they have not enough difference makers in big moments, right? They're all good. They all have that, and it's a good unit. But I don't know if there's like guys I look at to go, it's late in the fourth quarter, and this guy, they don't have a the DB, a McDuffie to make a play in a big moment, or Chris Jones or somebody like that, right? So go ahead. I know
Russo. I think Russo is really good, and I think Bosa. I mean, Bosa. He's had some injuries, but coming in and giving him like a kind of
fresh start. Right.
I think he can definitely be a difference maker. And then Ed Oliver. I've watched him a lot.
Right.
He's very active, very productive in the middle of that defense. But I love what they've done, making commitments financially to Terrell Bernard and those guys, just solidifying the defense. I think that makes you feel good that
Right.
that hey, our defense will be together. And I think McDermott does a really good job of motivating those
Agreed
guys,
with that.
game planning.
Agreed with that.
And I know they beat Baltimore last year in the playoffs, but
But-
I still think if they avoid Baltimore as much as I think Baltimore is the only style
That's their kryptonite.
that, like Bernard and Milano, really good linebackers. They're smaller, faster linebackers. I think the big offensive line, Derrick Henry, I think the way Baltimore plays goes against a little bit what they do well. Like if we're honest, like Baltimore, you get Mark Andrews, your best player, fumbles from just a little tap on the ball, then he drops the two. Like they did some things where
Yeah.
you're just like, and then earlier in the season, Baltimore undressed Buffalo. So
Yeah,
I just
definitely.
think that's a rougher matchup for them.
Well, just watching that playoff game, the Buffalo Bills, I was surprised the way they came out physically up front, their front seven. I mean, they were flying around. They was tagging Derrick Henry. But you talk about Baltimore. And the thing about Baltimore to me is this. They've had a Super Bowl roster the last few years.
100.
And the players have done a tremendous job. And I have a lot of respect for Coach Harbaugh and the job that he's done. But the players have gotten them to that point. Now it's up to the coach to get them over the hump. So it's up to Coach Harbaugh to get that team prepared and ready and over that hump. We would always get us to that point, the players, and then Coach Belichick, because of his planning, his ability to just speak into us and show us different things and really elevate our play, got us over the hump. So it's the coaching that gets you over the hump.
Right.
So I'm looking at McDermott, I'm looking at Coach Harbaugh. These teams are very mirrored. Right, either one of these teams should be winning Super Bowls. They should be beating Kansas City, but it's the difference is coaching. That's the difference.
I'm with you on the Baltimore thing. I'm not sure I'm with you all the way on Buffalo as far as should beat them, right? I just don't know if I see their roster quite the same way you do, and that's okay. We can disagree on it a little bit. One of my things with Buffalo at times is like, I hope they can do it, is they can't play man-to-man in big situations, right? Now maybe they can with Maxwell Harrison and bringing him in there. Those are just little things that worry me.
And Christian Benford, too.
He's a player. He's a player.
Stud,
I
man.
know.
He's a stud.
100%. That's my hard thing with Buffalo. I struggle because I root for them and I like them, but then I look at little things where a few years ago I was going, can somebody help out Josh Allen a little bit? And then they kind of fixed that. And then I'm like, okay, well, now we need the defense to kind of show up in some of these big games and go from there. We'll see. Yeah. But they're definitely in the window.
I do wish they had more cornerback depth.
Right.
I do,
because they lose one guy and it all falls apart.
That's what I worry about. And that happened in the playoff game last year against Kansas City.
Exactly right. All right, so the Ravens we know in the Super Bowl window. I'll echo with what you just said right there, too. I've gone in the playoffs the last 2 years, I think, going, the Ravens are the best team in the AFC, right? They are. And whether the coach has to get them over the hump, they didn't run the ball in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. The Stars let them down in the last game. Lamar threw a dumb pick. He fumbled the ball on the bad snap. Isaiah likely, like you said, got touched and fumbled in the middle of the field. Andrews drops the ball. It does feel like it's kind of like the last hurrah for Baltimore, does it not?
Yeah, but you got to think about what Isaiah likely said this offseason. It really caught me. He said, we have to be able to play the same way. We have to be able to, what did he say? We have to be able to play a certain style of football, the same style of football in the regular season and the playoffs. That's what he said. Yeah. That's the thing that really drew my attention. I'm like, why are things different? Why is something different? And that's the thing I love about Coach Belichick. He would actually elevate us by instilling confidence, showing us different little trinkets and things that work. And we would always have that confidence going in, and we would win football games because we had a great coach.
And I agree with you. I think there's a side of this, even from talking to different guys throughout the offseason in Baltimore, of I think Harbaugh and the whole staff needs to go above and beyond from an accountable standpoint to every guy. Like, hey, if we fumble a snap in practice, that has to be everybody go. Yep. Like, we have to create this sense of urgency.
Can't let the Stars get away. Yes, because the Stars have let them down in the last 2 losses.
What did Belichick used to tell us all the time? In the biggest games, our best players need to be their best.
Yep. Right.
Like that. And if we look at Baltimore, you don't their best players aren't always their best in the biggest games. And I think that comes from a coach being on them every single day and not being like, hey, man, you're so great. Hey, just kind of do this. No. Like, when your best players mess up, who do you undress first in the meeting room? You got to, and it's not yelling, screaming, but it's, hey, I'm going to hold you accountable in front of your whole teammates. Right. And I think the same thing happens from player to coach too, because if a coach isn't doing that, then a player should be able to, hey, coach, you're not giving me the play call. Like, that was a big, like, the coordinator's not giving you a play call. We can't just be like, no, hey, coach, we need the play call before 5 seconds. Like, we need to play. You know what I mean? I think you have to have that from both sides.
But it's definitely coming from the coach. The coach really elevates the team to that next level.
Yeah, I hear you. And I always thought it was amazing about you guys and your runs with the Patriots. Like, you guys are the best team in football. And speaking of your coaching, you guys were the team that was most probable to run a trick play in a playoff game to maybe just help jumpstart things, get everybody going. And I thought that was always great coaching, too. Like, hey, we had a bye week. It's the divisional game. We're starting off a little slow. Let's do this to jumpstart things, right? And I do think there's value
going back
to
Isaiah Likely, he's saying that we have to keep the same identity in the regular season and in the playoffs. And that's the thing. It's a mindset. We never thought of playoffs being, okay, we're playing the playoffs. It was just like this.
Yeah.
Okay, we never viewed it as being really so different than a regular season. So our approach was always the same. We were always businesslike, and we never got nervous because we were so well prepared.
Right.
And that's what I don't see from the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. I like all that. All right, so let's move on. We both think they're in the window, and Rodney, damn, he's all over the Bills right now. He's picking them to go to the Super Bowl. I like it.
Let's go, Josh.
Okay. All right, we got Bills, Ravens. Now, the Bengals. Do we think they're a team that can go to the Super Bowl?
No.
Sadly, no, too. Yeah. Because they have the guy at quarterback. I just don't think they care to build around him the way they should. I know they brought back T. Higgins, but overall team, like we were with Jason Garrett yesterday, and he said, I think the best teams are balanced.
Yeah.
Offense, defense, special teams, stop the run the ball, throw the ball. They don't have that. It's simple. You look, they just don't have that.
No, I'm with you too. I'm going to say no as well. I'm going to join you guys on that one. I sitting here right now, I can't say it. Not with the defense, new D coordinator, distractions with the Trey Hendrickson stuff and all of that.
Shamar
Stewart.
Let me tell you something. As a veteran that I played in this league 15 years and I've been part of this league over 30 years, how you Cincinnati Bengals to treat guys that way, I would feel so pissed off to be in that locker room and see a first-round draft choice not get to see Trey Hendrickson not get paid. I wouldn't want to even be part of that. So what happens, Chris, is a lot of those guys, they turn into money players. So I'm going to protect if I have a slight calf, I'm not going to practice. I'm going to take care of me because I know the Bengals won't take care of me. So now you get all this.
Get out of here.
Yes, I got to get out of here and protect myself. And then you can't win championships. You can't win a lot of football games being that way.
Right. All right. So we got Bengals. You think playoffs are a possibility, certainly, but they're known that next level of Super Bowl contender, negative Ghost Rider.
Burrow's that great that
he can do it.
Yeah.
Right. Like we saw last year. Right. I mean, you know what this did to me last year? I mean, he brought up me because I picked the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl, right?
You did that last year?
Before the year started.
Oh, you're an idiot.
I did. Screw you, okay? Damn, screw you. All right. So
I got nervous at the end of the year.
No, so he brought it up every week. Yeah, at one point, he went like in a 7-week stretch. He's like, the Bengals, Sims picked them to win.
Well, at least they scored 35 points.
But then it got to the end of the year where they got hot, and I can still remember it was like week 14, and he goes, and he looked at me as he was saying, he was like, if the Bengals get in, they might go to the Super Bowl. He looked at me and I was like, yeah. It was a good moment. All right, let's go to those Steelers football team. We kind of talked about them already, but do you think they have a chance to be a Super Bowl football team this year?
No, they have a playoff window, but definitely not a Super Bowl.
I don't think there's no doubt there. Now, here's to me, I think a team that I'm going to say is in the Super Bowl window that I don't think gets a lot of talking about right now. You might have heard me bring them up yesterday. The Houston Texans. I think the Texans are in the window. I know their defense is real. I'm a believer in the quarterback, the running back. I know we got a little
O-line.
O-line is the question. And
that's a big question.
I think
we talked about
switching the offensive coordinator, right? Because I think a lot of the O-line problems last year were the offensive coordinator. We talked about this during the season last year. When I would watch film, I'd go,
he wasn't good.
All they do is slide protection. And so you were like, man, they're getting exposed with some of this stuff. And C.J. Stroud didn't even look like he knew what made him hot or what was the pressure or any of that. And I've come to find out that really was the case. That was the case. So, yeah, they've changed that around. That's a question. But I'm going to put them in the window. I am.
Devin?
Do you feel the same way here?
I'm not. I do, and I know both the guys on offense, Nick Caley, Cole Popovich, who's now going to be coaching the offensive line.
Right.
Cole comes right from under Dante Scarnecchia and the beliefs of how you fix some issues. Let's say you're not as good in certain positions on the offensive line. What do you need to do to fix those? I just think when you go into this first year with that, I don't know if they'll have enough guys who are fully bought into, like, this is how we execute this to say, hey, we're going to win a playoff game in Baltimore or in Buffalo to go and take that next step. I don't think they're there yet, but I think they're the team this year that I wouldn't be surprised that, like, we're in some tough divisional game with them against Buffalo or Baltimore with a chance to go to the AFC Championship.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised by that.
All right. So real good playoff team, but not a Super Bowl team.
I would agree with that.
You're going to agree with that too.
100%.
All right, so I'm the lone wolf there on that one. Yeah, I'm a little believer in Nick Caserio and the coaches that you kind of mentioned that they're going to straighten.
I love the defense, the secondary.
Right,
I mean,
it's one of the best secondaries in football.
The problem is to get to the Super Bowl, it means you have to beat
Kansas City, Baltimore, and Buffalo.
It is unreal.
So I don't know if we can pick anybody after those three teams.
Those are the three Super Bowl contenders.
The AFC is unreal. All right,
you still got to beat Denver too. Denver,
we're going to bring them up. Hey, slow your freaking roll here. All right, let me host the show.
My fault, Chris.
But all right, so Texans, all right, Chiefs. We know they're in the Super Bowl window. But I'm a little bit of like, is this the year the mojo? I mean, how many years can you do it a year in a row, a year in a row, year in a row?
We're probably the wrong guys to ask.
I know. Well, right. But even with that, like, you know, I look at it, and even though the Patriots, you guys had, you know, every now and then a year where you might have lost in a divisional round. But either way, I don't know. It feels like that, like they could be a little tired this year.
No, man, I think it's the complete opposite. I think that Super Bowl loss and all the talk about Patrick Mahomes not being the same, a top 10 quarterback, I think that's actually motivating. I think that was one of the best things that happened to them, to get their butts kicked in the Super Bowl. They still got Chris Jones, still got Spagnuolo. Those really good guys on the defensive side of the ball, and offensively, Andy Reid will be motivated. You don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to be motivated?
I know it is.
So I don't think it's one of those things.
I was afraid he wasn't going to talk to me ever again when I made him forward quarterback.
I look at Patrick Mahomes very similar than I look at Brady. I mean, he's the driving force behind it. And when you see him work, his work ethic and his dedication and just his passion for the game, how could you not get excited about following this guy?
Definitely. He's arguably one of my favorite players.
It reminds me of our team in 2018. We come off the Super Bowl loss to Philadelphia, where defensively we get embarrassed, and we come back in 18, and at some point during that year, it wasn't like a slam dunk year where we're just like running through guys. We have the Miami Miracle that we lose, and then the talk going into the playoffs was, hey, that's it. Like, this is not the team it used to be. Brady's older, and for us in that locker room, it turned into, all right,
motivation.
We'll take that. Okay. And then we go and win another. So, like, Kansas City, to me, feels like they're in that where a lot of people are like, hey, that was a hell of a run.
Right.
And Andy Reid is pressing, man. Andy Reid, he's not, I'm making all this money. And
but these other teams are coming.
He wants to win football games.
But I hear you. Mahomes and Andy Reid, I know it. And when I say a letdown, I'm like, this could be the year they lose in the divisional round. I don't know, right? I mean, I know they're in the Super Bowl window, but I am excited to see if Mahomes and this downfield passing game can happen a little bit, right? But the thing that worries me, and we're talking about these teams now, is a little bit just the division they're in. I mean, it's the greatest coaching division, I think, in the history of football. When you talk about the 4 coaches in the AFC West, right? It's insane. Super Bowls, national championships, right? I mean, damn, they got it all. So it's the competition. So now let's hit the team tonight, the Chargers. Do you think they're anyway in the Super Bowl window here?
No.
But playoff window?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still going to be hard, right? Kansas City, I would pick Denver over them.
Okay.
In that playoff window, I would put Denver over them.
So do you think Bo Nix is better than Herbert?
Again, I'm going to go back to this. I don't think he's more talented than Herbert.
Right.
Do you think he's better?
I think he will better run that team to go to the playoffs than Herbert is in on LA.
All right, so I'm with you in the Chargers too, but Broncos, are we saying like also like, all right, you're saying playoff window, but are we saying Super Bowl window too? No.
They have a Super Bowl defense.
I know. Right. They're really close.
No,
to me.
Devin, say no.
No, it's a no for me. Yeah, because again, I come down to like, can they beat Philadelphia to get there? Like, not Philadelphia? Can they beat the Chiefs? Can they beat like in these big games? Like, are we gonna say I'm taking Bo Nix over Josh Allen? No.
I'm gonna say no too. But they're one that is very on. It wouldn't they're teeter. I am a believer in Sean Payton.
They can win one playoff game. I definitely believe they can win one playoff.
Yeah,
I love how they went to Buffalo last year.
Right.
Like they didn't win the game, but their approach, how they went, I'm all for that. With a rookie quarterback going out, they didn't go out there saying, "Hey, we're just
happy to be here."
We lose by 3, it's a win.
I hate that mentality.
Right, no doubt about that. And we'll see where they go, but they're a team on the rise for sure. All right, let's switch it over to the NFC. I think the Eagles are like the great. You've heard me say all this crap. I think they're the most well-built team maybe that I've ever seen. Like I've said, up to the '90s Cowboys, to some of the great Patriot teams you've been on. It's really kind of hard to find a weakness. As I rattle it off all the time, I go, arguably the best duo of receivers in football, or it's up there. It's the best running back in football. There's no doubt it's the best O-line in football. It's definitely a top 2 or 3 D-line.
One of the best defensive coordinators in football.
One of the best D coordinators in football. The secondary with the young guys, I go, they're about to be a top 5 secondary.
The secondary is cheap.
Right? So, no shit, Super Bowl. Yeah. It's just like, are they going to win it? Are they going to be there?
We don't have to spend much time.
We don't, right?
They'll be in the NFC Championship.
And, I think the special thing about it, Devin, is they're really not even thinking about repeating. They're saying, hey, we want sustained success. We're not worried about repeating. So I just love that mentality because we had the same mentality. We were trying to forget about the previous year.
And that's what I don't think Jalen Hurts gets enough credit as the leader and leading that charge of the approach, the mentality. Like, you can say whatever you want about his talent, but the guy that you want to lead your football team, I think they love what Jalen Hurts brings and what he does day in and day out.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with any of that. No doubt about that. He is special that way, 100%.
Exactly.
I know I question his game sometimes, or sometimes I just feel like people overstate it, but I will not feel that's.
I mean, think about Jalen, though. Every time you hear him talk, it feels like you're listening to a coach.
No doubt about it.
I'm like, okay,
100%.
he's coaching me.
You could tell he was raised by his dad was a coach.
Exactly.
You could tell.
Exactly. Right. And sometimes I'm like, can you just give me the damn answer instead of the coach speak damn answer? Right?
I like it, though.
I know. But it's the way to approach it,
Yeah.
and it is who he is. He owns that. All right. We talked about the Lions. We have Super Bowl window, right? But we're also looking at it going, it won't be as easy as the years past.
Right.
It
won't.
Do they have enough pass rushers? That's the other thing I'll just say too. If Aiden, I don't think he's going to be like full go Aiden Hutchinson to start the year, and we already questioned whether they had another pass rusher opposite.
Well,
him,
they
right?
say Marcus Davenport is a solid player. He's a solid player. He's never really put up huge numbers.
Gets hurt a lot.
And he gets hurt a lot.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think just what we talked about earlier, within the division, it's going to be very tough. So, and then losing those coordinators, that's going to take an adjustment period. You look at the Baltimore Ravens defensively when they had changed their defensive coordinator last year.
Took half the season.
It took half the season, and then
That's
back end of the season, they started playing well. But you never know.
That's right. All right, Commanders, they got the hottest quarterback in the game. He's got already a guy that's got that aura you talked about that maybe Justin Herbert doesn't have, and all that.
And he beat the Lions.
That's why, to me, last year the Lions was number one going in. Like, hey, they're the number one team that we think. All right, Philadelphia showed they're one.
Right.
To me, I would put Washington at 2 in front of the Lions at the point because what you just said, what they did last year, Jaden Daniels, and they said, you know what, we're going to go get Laramie Tunsil. You know what, we're going to go get Debo Sam. Like, we're going to improve this team, and we're going to try to give us an even better shot to get there. They didn't just say, hey, man, what an accomplishment.
We're good.
Now they need to get the Terry McLaurin situation. They need to get that finalized, get him back in the camp. But I think the leadership they have older guys that are only playing. You look at Bobby Wagner. You look at all of these guys. Zach Ertz, they're only playing. Von Miller, they're only playing to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
So now those young players who probably think, hey, we went to the NFC Championship every year. We're going, you got Von Miller, you got Bobby Wagner, you got Ertz in there saying, no, NFL doesn't work like that. We got to go. So I love that about them.
Yeah, definitely.
You cannot underestimate the impact of those veteran players, not just on the young players, but also other veteran players.
Definite Super Bowl window for me. I'm with you there all the way too. I'm not sure I put them 2 yet, but they're up there. What do we think of Debo Samuel in the addition, right? Debo's a guy that, I mean, I love watching Debo. I mean, he brings a style to the game that's rare for a. But is he still the same Debo?
I thought he lost his passion in San Francisco. I just thought it was a change was needed, and you see that now. You see he seems happy. He seems very enthusiastic, and he's playing with Jaden Daniels. How could you not be excited? I believe that, he's very excited.
And I don't think he has to be that guy that we saw a few years ago in San Francisco. They have enough playmakers that now all of a sudden Debo Samuel becomes the fourth guy you're worried about. Now he gets mismatches. He gets to do certain things where his time in San Fran turned into
fourth guy I worry about on that offense.
I'm just saying, like, depending on what you do, how you're running the ball with Brian Robinson, throwing to McCourty.
I'm not worried about Brian Robinson. I think,
but you might be worried about stopping the run.
Yeah, but they're not special in the run game. They're just not. They're okay. I felt this all season.
They're misleading in the run game. They're misleading because I'm with you in what you're saying. They don't just line up and dominate you, but they were the third leading rushing team in football last year.
That's unbelievable.
Right? That's what we've had this argument last year because I was like, wait, I like the way Green Bay runs the ball because they do it traditional, but you bring these quarterbacks in that run the ball too. And sometimes you go, damn, I forget that he ripped off a 70-yarder on the read option one play.
Well, I was talking about pure rushing yards without the quarterback.
I do that sometimes too.
But that's your concern as a defense of it's not just Brian Robinson on his own read.
That's true.
Because if Jaden keeps it, hey, now that safety, we need you because if he keeps it and it's just the defensive end,
that's right.
like when you first started playing Lamar Jackson, We got a quarterback player. He's not going to make that tackle, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now
He's
you
there in
start stacking
theory.
the box.
Yeah.
Now Debo Samuel's out. I think that is what can help them.
Right. I used to love that. Like, oh, look, we have a guy on the board that's here for Lamar, and I'd be like, yeah, that's great. That guy's not tackling Lamar. Good luck. And I think the McCourty thing will get straightened out. I think it's obvious.
Yeah.
It's just about.
He's a great dude, man.
It's just about the
man.
number. I think it's like if
How
he's
long?
Yeah, right. I mean, I think. Right, is he's asking for 35 or 36 a year?
But teams have to stop waiting. If I'm Terry McLaurin,
100.
am I taking less than DK Metcalf?
You might not have a choice.
Yeah.
But right now, that's what the issue. I think he's
so that's like at 32. Right. So that's what I say. The magic
Give the
number is
man
like
3 years.
31.
Get a guy 3 year, $90 million, and guarantee 50 or 60 of it, and he'll be.
He'll be there, yeah, and I think they'll get there. They're not looking to take a step back and handcuff Jaden Daniels in year 2, right? That's for sure. All right, the San Francisco 49ers, right? Do we put them? I think they're going to surprise some people. They're going to be a pain in the ass. I can tell you firsthand, Shanahan and Lynch are very excited about the team, but I don't know if I believe they're in the Super Bowl window right now. I'm going to say no.
I'm saying no.
Playoffs, yes, but
is there something from talking to them that like the defense, for instance, like you lose Hufanga, you use Dre Greenlaw, and we saw when Greenlaw came back for one game, it was like, holy shit, this defense, you know what I mean? And then, so what excites? I guess
Saleh excites me.
I think they're excited
Robert
about
Saleh.
Saleh being back.
Absolutely.
I think they got some young guys that they feel like are hungry and want to play, right? I think some of the veterans on the offense, they still got Kittle and McCaffrey, where they're like, hey, don't forget about
Pay
us.
Jawan Jennings. He play. If you don't want to pay him, trade him.
I know.
Get something
I know.
from him.
He's got some leverage there, too, because we know Brandon Ayuk's not going to be like totally ready to go to start it. The Green Bay Packers. Right, who I look at and I think it's one of the better rosters in football. Jordan Love didn't have his best year last year. We know that, right? But I expect bounce back. I'm going Packers Super Bowl window. I'm going to say that right off the bat.
I agree with you, Chris.
You
yeah, absolutely.
The running game.
And for me, the biggest thing with Jordan Love that frustrated me is it's always like he was trying to throw off one leg across his body, trying to do this Aaron Rodgers stuff as opposed to planting his feet, just making the correct throw.
Yeah, I think they're a really good team. I don't see Super Bowl per se. I just, again, in that division, you have to set yourself up to be. It's like sometimes the best thing to be in a Super Bowl is to be in the best position to play either at home or get a bye week.
Yeah.
Playing against Chicago, Minnesota, Detroit.
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
I think it's going to be tough.
But nobody said that they have to go 15-2. They just got to get in the playoffs and start winning.
Yeah. I think you're low on them, and so does Rodney. But we'll
No, I'm high on Green Bay.
Yeah, no, I know. You think he's low? Yeah,
he's low.
You think he's low? Okay, the Los Angeles Rams. Damn, we were there in person. They had the Eagles on the ropes. I was going, damn, they're going to upset the Eagles in the snow.
So that's my Super Bowl representative from the NFC.
Okay,
so it's Buffalo and the Rams. Because
Buffalo
you told me you better have your Super Bowl prediction.
Why are we putting Green Bay in this?
Why
Do we think Green Bay is going to be better than
We just said
Philly,
that they have
Washington?
a window.
But they have a realistic. I think the Rams are a team that's in the window. So like now, what are we saying? Green Bay's fifth. They're fifth in there.
No. I think Green Bay's in that window, and I don't put them much farther behind that. I mean, Green Bay, without a good quarterback play, they hung in there with the Eagles in the wild card game.
Defense will be better.
Their defense will be better. Jordan Love is going to be better. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and you still got Josh Jacobs.
And you still got, and right, and
a lot of things alike. We should have liked it last year too.
Yeah, to make myself look stupider, I picked the Bengals and the Packers to go to the Super Bowl last year.
I picked Jordan Love.
Last year, I picked Bengals Packers. That's what I picked last year. Right, but
Are you from Ohio?
I was off. No. I'm straight all Jersey trash right here. All right, but we're all picking the Rams in the window, right?
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
What's crazy is if you look at the odds and things like that, the 49ers are still favored to win the NFC West.
I saw that.
You believe it? It's the whole offseason. It's never changed. I don't even understand it.
I think the Rams have more confidence coming in this year than they did last. Like we were at that playoff game. They're a few plays away from beating the Eagles.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
As much as Philly looked dominating, the Rams were
they
right
hung
there.
in there. I know, exactly.
a couple more first downs, they're in position to kick a field goal.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right. We got that on docket. Now it's the Buccaneers. What do you think? The Buccaneers. Are we going to put them in there? No. You don't believe in Baker and the offensive line, and
again, it's not that I don't like them, but to me, like the Super Bowl's the upper echelon of like, hey, you got to go win a playoff game against Minnesota. I don't think now. This is Minnesota last year. I wouldn't put Minnesota in that same ballpark this year, but I just don't. I don't think Tampa has that. I love Baker Mayfield and what he brings. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't put.
You're not going to put him there. What are you going to say, big guy? Because they're. I understand his answer. They're on the fence in this conversation.
Yeah, at first, you get really excited about Baker and some of the talent that they have, and the wide receivers been healthy.
Yeah, and, drafted Emeka Egbuka in the
first
round.
Yeah,
McMillan taking another.
You know what? I'm going with Baker Mayfield. I think they have a Super Bowl window. I think they have an opportunity. I mean, we've seen them against the Lions the last couple years or whatever.
Yeah.
And, I think they have a Super Bowl window.
They'll need Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame, the corner. He needs to, because that was one of the issues last year. Like I don't love their secondary per se. Like I think Todd Bowles is awesome of drawing up all these different blitzes, but at certain times you have to play teams and you got to say, hey, you got him, and we gotta go win.
Agreed.
And they drafted him, so I think he has to be now. Antoine Winfield Jr. coming back, I think, elevates that defense if he can get back to his level of play. But they're going to need that to even have a chance to be a good playoff team.
Tampa Bay is loaded on the offensive side of the ball.
I'm with Rodney on this one. I'm going to put them in the window, too.
And just like you talked about Jaden Daniels as far as his ability to elevate and his leadership and things like that, I look at Baker Mayfield the same way. Yeah. I mean, I interviewed a guy, and I feel like I want to go back on the football
I was the same way when I talked to him.
It's like this guy is so special, and whether it's a coach, whether it's a player or several players, he has the ability to really ignite that locker room.
Agreed. I'm like, my thoughts are the O-line, I think, they got ass kickers. So that's where I like it. You talked about the running back. The damn tight end, Cade Otton's a damn good player, right? Did Mike Evans lose a step? Right. Yeah. Did Mike Evans lose a step? We got to look at that. Chris Godwin coming off injury. That might be some struggles early there. I don't know.
Do we think there's an impact on the offensive coordinator and how the offense is ran? Now this is 2 years in a row.
Definitely.
You're highly productive on offense and your coordinator leaves.
But the beautiful part, it could definitely affect him. But the beautiful part about it, I trust Baker Mayfield. I think,
to get it right.
I think he's gonna go in there, have meetings, and tell the offense coordinator. These are the things that I'm comfortable with
he's
on a week-to-week basis.
And Todd's going to tell him to run the ball too. He's not going to let anybody get away from that. I'm with you, and though I wish they would stop zone blitzing so much. They do it too much, in my opinion. They have enough people. Again, let me read you some of the names of the front seven, because I think sometimes it's unbelievable when you think about it. We got Logan Hall, Vita Vea. Right. I've been that up forever. Kalijah Cansey, who's a baller. Hassan Reddick's going to be on the edge with them this year now, right?
Stud.
You got Levante David, right? Yaya Diaby is another red, right? He's a
young,
beast,
athletic
no doubt about it. And then you get to the secondary where you're right. There's potential, but I don't trust them in man-to-man against really awesome passing defenses.
That's what they struggled with last year.
You're right.
They played against Baltimore. I called the game on Westwood 1, and they came out there, and they're like, we're blitzing. And they blitz, they sack Lamar Jackson, they get out of the first third down of the game. Crowd goes crazy in Tampa. The next time they blitz Lamar Jackson, he ran around the edge. They blitz him again, he threw a deep ball touchdown.
Right.
And then by like the second quarter, they're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't blitz him. But then they played defense, and it was a hitch route, turn, touchdown. Like, they just couldn't stop the passing game with their secondary last year. And again, Antoine Winfield Jr. was out a lot last year, and I think he's a hell of a player. When he was healthy 2 years ago, he was the best safety in football, you could argue. So he needs to have that kind of impact.
All right, last team, the Minnesota Vikings. I think Minnesota actually got better in the offseason, but we have the quarterback thing, and it's a rookie quarterback.
That's why I'm saying no.
You're going to say no.
Yeah. They can win a playoff game, but as far as Super Bowl window, I think that's kind of closed.
And I know it's early in training camp. There hasn't been like rave reviews out there, and it shouldn't be. But like, I just think it's rough when you have a team that the rest of the team is like here because of the last few years, and then you have this rookie quarterback who's like, I'm trying. Like, we looked at Denver, they had a rookie, but everybody was on that same level, so they moved up together. It feels like J.J. McCarthy. He's drinking from a fire hose trying to catch up. And that's so much pressure for a young guy to be like, hey, we can go to the Super Bowl, but it's all up to you.
Right.
That's a lot.
No, it is a lot. I'm going to say no as well. I think they're close as a football team. I will say that. And I'm interested to see if they can run the ball a little bit this year because they know their O-line. When you look at their O-line, they drafted the guard out of Ohio State in the first round. Darrisaw's back, right? Yeah. They got the two Colts guys in free agency, right? And Will Fries and Ryan Kelly. They got a good tackle, right? I think they're a real pain in the ass. I think a playoff win is possible.
As you scroll down to the defense, the cornerback situation. Like it's like Flo is phenomenal. Draw this up, dude. Right. And he was doing a lot of that because they can't cover.
I know.
They can't cover in the secondary.
Right.
And there were no big upgrades.
No.
So you lost Cam Bynum. Stephon Gilmore was there before.
I
Griffin
think it's still
was there
a problem.
before. Like
they can still pick up a couple guys during camp, veteran player that might get cut or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there it is. Minnesota, big pain in the ass, but we don't see them as a Super Bowl team.
Not at all.
All right. When we come back, we're going to take a little break. We're going to officially see who's the best Patriot here. Who is actually the best Patriot?
You got 5 more minutes with me, too, buddy. I've been here an hour and 18 minutes.
We got to get out of here. We got a commercial. We'll be right back. Rodney's going to beat me up. See ya. All right, we're back. It's Patriots Trivia time with 2 Patriots legends. Who's the actual best Patriot that wears the red coat to go to the Patriots Hall of Fame? I don't know, but here we go. And just before we came back, in full transparency, Devin actually said, I'm nervous, and he should be, because I'm hoping that he messes up some really obvious shit right here, okay? This is what we're hoping for. Right off the bat, this is really for both of you, okay? Do you know Bill Belichick's middle name? All these years.
Weasel. I'm just kidding.
Steven.
Oh, well done. Well done. Ding, 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 ding. You are officially Bill Belichick's favorite safety as of right now.
His dad's name was Steven. His first son's name is Steven.
As well, you connected the dots well there. You connected them well.
A lot of dinners at Bill Belichick's house, I'm sure, too.
I'm hiding my stuff here because I don't trust Devin. He's, got some Jersey in him, right? He's New York.
Because I'm a Patriot, you think I'm going to cheat?
You might cheat a little bit, right. You never know. You might take the air of the football. We're watching you, all right? Sorry, all right. Here we go. Tom Brady. He's got 2 middle names. Can you name one of them?
Oh.
I don't know.
Rodney, not even pretend.
William.
Nope. Negative. Ghost Rider. He is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, right? Is that not the whitest guy name in the history of the world right there? Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, right? That's a good one. Right. Yeah. I didn't know that one either, so don't be mad. All right. Rodney? Most points any of your teams scored in a Super Bowl. What game was it?
It was you guys, right? Didn't you score like...
No. It's just your Super Bowls. Just your Super Bowl. We'll see if you know just your Super Bowls.
Was it 42?
Nope, not 42. That was the Giants 17-10. That one in Houston, though, where you hurt your arm.
Yeah.
Right? 32-29. You guys beat the Carolina Panthers, right? Damn. I mean, you guys playing great defense, and you just fell apart.
I don't sit back and just think about trivia and Super Bowl.
I know you don't. I know.
That's a funny story. Like, Bill used to go off every year, and he'd go, we have Rodney Harrison. He gets hurt, and a guy who never thought he would go into the game goes in the game, and he starts showing us the cover 2 drops.
Oh, gosh, how he's just messing things up.
We're playing great defense, and it all goes to one injury. Like, I've seen that every year going into the playoffs.
Right. All right. Now, Devin, what was your biggest margin of victory in a Super Bowl win?
6.
Nope. You had an ugly football game. Defensive football game was actually the biggest margin you ever won. 13-3.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? When I saw that, I was like, damn, that is a mental
13-3. I'm thinking of the low score.
Right.
But
10 points is the biggest margin they won the Super Bowl. The Rams.
In Atlanta?
Yeah. Jared Goff, right, back in the end zone. His brother saved the day with the guy opening the back in the end zone, right? You guys played what? You guys brought out the Bears game plan that day and played cover 4 on them a whole lot.
Matty P in Detroit.
Oh, it was Matty P in Detroit. That's what it was. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that was one of the most boring Super Bowls ever, but either way, you got a ring. All right, Rodney. Other than Tom Brady, who was the only Patriot player to win 1 Super Bowl with you and 1 with this guy? Mm-hmm. You're gonna think if you don't get this, you're gonna be mad that you didn't get it, right? He used to, when I would walk in the locker room,
giving clues now?
He called me bottom feeder. That's what he called. And I was like, what does that mean? Or he called me crab meat and stuff like that. And I was like, what is this?
I don't know.
Vince Wilfork.
Oh,
I know. I knew that one was going to hurt you. I knew that one was going to
I
hurt
always
you.
remember because he always talked about both eras.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
He got to see both.
Yeah. And Vince Wilfork gave me one of the weirdest things I ever happened in my life. He hit me in the crotch right above the junk area, and I had such a bad bruise that, of course, the blood went down there, and my junk was like purple and yellow for like a week, right?
Information.
That's like TMI, right?
Yeah, well, it's a famous story on PFT. I just wanted to tell you about my Vince Wilfork memories are either that or them having to run the 4x100 relay at the end of training camp, and he was the last leg, and he took off, and I was like, this guy's belly is 300 pounds, and he's running like this.
He was all belly, that's for sure.
He was all belly.
That is
his
arm. He's got a great spot.
Yep.
Is that right?
Oh, he threw a better ball than Tom.
Damn. All right, here we go, Devin. What number did Kevin Falk wear?
33.
That was easy.
You just give him.
His locker was next.
I know. That was Pete. He gave that to you. That was way too easy.
That's my guy.
weak.
That's right.
Well, I got his right too. I got Vince Wilfork right. So.
What's Matt Light's number? The great
72.
Oh, okay. All
I know my old line.
You do. You know Logan Mankin's number?
Was it Logan was?
You were close.
Was it 66?
Nope.
70.
70. Do we know Dan Copen's number?
66.
Close, but 67.
67.
Yep. All right, good.
I got cursed out.
I'm glad you knew your own line.
Oh, Dan Copen, yeah.
Yeah, yep. Okay, good.
Boston
I'm glad you know
College.
their own line right there. All right.
And Joe Andruzzi.
And Joe Andruzzi, right.
Give him some props.
Oh,
too.
I know. You're right. He was a damn good player,
Absolutely.
Joe. No doubt about it. All right. Who had more career interceptions, Devin or Rodney?
Are we looking for the number?
Yeah, no, just tell me who had more. Do you know who had more?
I think he did.
Do you know?
100% sure.
You
I did.
had one more than Rodney. Isn't that unbelievable?
Did he have like 31?
He's at 35. You got 34.
Oh, wow.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Right. Damn close right there. Okay. Rodney, who had more career playoff interceptions?
Me.
Rodney.
Yeah, Rodney. Yeah, Eddie's got a pick six. He's really got you on that one. He's got you. All right, but yeah, Rodney had 7.
Yeah.
Damn, Rodney, you were Johnny Playoff, Mr. January over there.
Hey,
Best players play their best in the biggest game.
Yeah, that's right. You guys both played
I've probably
awesome.
seen all his playoff interceptions. We have.
Oh, I'm sure.
Bill showed them every year.
Showed them all,
Every
yeah.
year.
Look at Rodney. What a legend he is. All right. So here we go. Rodney holds the NFL record with 34 career Super Bowl tackles. Did you know you held the record for career tackles?
I did.
You did. Okay. All right. Close the yearbook. Get off yourself a little bit. All right.
I mean, people send me this stuff. I don't volunteer this stuff, and I know Devin is close as well as Patrick Chung.
Yeah.
Oh, damn! You just answered the question.
Yeah.
There it is. Because I was going to say Devin
People
is.
send you that stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Devin is second, and then Devin. Yeah. You're right. Here we go. There you go. There it is. Devin's fourth. Patrick Chung.
Chiefs. We got Nick Bolton
one tackle
in here.
and Nick Bolton squeezed
He's messing
in.
it all
He's
up.
messing it all
It used to
up.
be all Patriots in
Well,
there.
you said earlier there's a lot of similarities
There
there.
are. Get
I
out
hear
of
you
there,
there.
Bolton.
All right, that's all I got for you. That's it. You did it, man. You're done. You said he had to get out of here. Hey, I used to tell people with Rodney Harrison, they were like, "What's Rodney like?" I was like, "Rodney's awesome. He's like my buddy." But I'm like, if he's in a bad mood, yeah, he's like a pit bull. You're like, "Damn, when's he gonna bite? When's he gonna strike?" I don't know. We got to get the hell out of here.
No, thank you for having us on, man.
No,
This was
I
great.
really appreciate you guys coming on. You're two of my favorites, like legends, like really are. And thanks for coming on, Chris.
Good job, Chris.
All right, appreciate it,
Devin.
man. All right, everybody, you know where to find us. Subscribe, rate, review. We'll be back all next week. Watch the Hall of Fame game tonight, Thursday. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, everybody. Be safe out there. We'll see you Monday on Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Peace out, homies. Clap it up. Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Sims Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm, doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
And thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.